like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I figured you would. We're going to have an exciting match between Bryant Cook and Michael Bonde. Neither of these guys are on their signature decks, for what it's worth. How do you feel about that, Brian?
I like it, actually. I like them switching it up. However, they did switch it up into one of the... This might be the only matchup that's actually older than we are, Jarvis. It's Creatures versus Wrath of God.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic from, like, 1993, if I had to pick one out. But who do you like in this matchup? You've seen the deck lists. You know the matchup.
I want to say that Miracles is a little bit of a favorite, but I don't think it's by as much as it used to be.
Right.
What do you think?
I would agree with that assessment, mainly because a natural order for Behemoth can lead to death more often than not now. It's sort of harder to float the terminuses like you used to be able to.
Yeah, you used to be able to float Terminus to play around natural order, and also top counterbalance would lock them out of the game. Now, you don't really have the luxury of setting up that lock, so you're kind of just playing more real Magic with them longer, and sometimes you have to rely on like Monastery Mentor to win.
Right.
Whereas before, you could just like run them out completely of resources.
And also, in that vein, I think a bunch of the Elves decks actually play Cavernous Souls now, which probably improves the matchup.
Yeah, I think most of the time you're not trying to force a will a creature, but there are times where you want to counter an Elvish Visionary,
right?
Or a Wirewood Symbiote, so it can certainly be a factor.
Well, it looks like we've sort of gone down to the game. Let's see who's won the die roll. It seems like... Okay, Bonde has won the die roll.
I just want to say for the record that I love the little logos everyone has.
Yeah.
We got the Bryant cookouts versus the Mick Bondies.
Ooh, that's nice. Which chain do you prefer?
I think cookout is way better, personally.
I've never been to a cookout, but I'm just going to agree with you in the dark.
I think that's smart. You've been to a McDonald's before, so you know what that's like.
I know I'm in for some American mediocrity when I go to Michael Bonde's.
Yep.
It's actually the In-N-Out logo, apparently.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'm not too familiar with In-N-Out. So
Twitch chat is getting on your case for this.
Oh man, I really goofed this one.
All right, so both players kept, and I think that's very reasonable in the matchup.
Yep. They also both have decent hands.
Yep, agreed. So we're not going to see like a blowout one way or the other so far.
It's a little bit awkward that Bryant Cook's hand has two basic planes. That could certainly be a problem, but
no, we're just going to see Fintor and Elves. Makes sense. Let's Bonde have 3 mana on turn 2 guaranteed.
Well,
loud.
Yep, not quite a guarantee. People still play removal. This is 2018. Yeah.
It's gone farming. Off to the farmland you go, Fintor and Elves.
I mean, I don't know if elves are traditionally farmers or not. Maybe.
I think there's a card called Elvish Farmer.
Makes sense.
So maybe sometimes. All right.
So, all right, there's another blue source that'll probably be useful later on.
Agreed.
I'm not sure. This will be an interesting decision point for Bryant coming up when Michael plays the Wirewood Symbiote.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. What do you do in response?
Like, you can brainstorm in response and then maybe be able to like plow the Visionary if you find that, or Terminus. But then you kind of also want to pitch the brainstorm to force a will if that's your decision is to go with that. So it's interesting here what you want to do.
You basically have to decide right now, but I think both modes are defensible.
I agree. It's also reasonable to consider allowing it to resolve and then playing Mentor with Force backup next turn, and then just trying to Mentor, go crazy with Monastery Mentor.
And if we know Bryant, he knows something about storming off.
He does, yeah.
And Mentor is basically Storm, right?
I need him to make 10 tokens with Monastery Mentor, so that we can we can replicate his Empty the Warrens days.
Yeah, agreed. Well, yeah, it looks like Bryant is just okay letting this happen. He's going to go for the Mentor Storm plan then.
You know, thinking about it more, I actually kind of like this line because Bonde is spending all of his mana doing this, and you can just Force of Will an important spell and then Snapcaster Plow the symbiote later if you need to. You might also just Snapcaster Plow right now. It's conceivable.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Does drawing a second force, how does that factor into the consideration?
I'm not sure that it does that much because I kind of would want to just pitch Force to Force here.
Okay.
But I think that might make Mentor better because now you would have a guaranteed Brainstorm next turn.
Yeah, you could if you save the Force to pitch the Force, you can Brainstorm and Snap Plow next turn, which is a pretty effective use of your resources, I think.
I agree with that. So Michael might just spend his turn doubling up on Elvish Visionary.
Yeah.
You can also actually, with Gaia's Cradle, maybe do a couple other things. Looks like it's getting forced.
Yeah, I think this is reasonable.
I think so too. He basically allowed Michael to draw an extra card off of the Visionary, but he got to pitch a better card to his Force of Will and make a token for Monastery Mentor. So I think that's just a better trade.
And now look at Bonde's hand. It kind of doesn't do that much, actually.
I would say, in fact, that it does nothing.
Terminus, not really what you want here, because I think Bryant is actually ahead on board.
I agree. It's the classic Monastery Mentor Terminus game plan. I think my favorite scenario involving those cards was once at an SCG Invitational, I hard cast a Terminus for 6 mana with a Mentor in play, and if my opponent didn't counter it, they died to the Mentor tokens, and if they did counter it, they died to the Mentor tokens, and if they didn't counter it, I was dead the next turn to like a Delver and a Deathrite. So it's kind of a really interesting spot.
Oh, so it was actually a win-win for you.
Yep.
That is funny. All right, so just a little repartee going on.
Yeah, Bonde is able to generate a lot of card advantage here, but he will just be dead in like 2 turns probably, so he does need to draw some gas.
Green's on Zenith. What does that do? I'm not sure. I think Bonde will figure out what it does.
Yep. Probably just gets another Visionary to go with the symbiote he has in play.
I haven't done the math.
In his hand.
Is there any chance we can actually get to Hoof this turn? I don't think there is, but...
If he draws like... If he gets a Visionary here and draws like a Glimpse of Nature, there's maybe a chance. I don't know. Probably not, but...
Probably not. I think it's highly unlikely. And the reason Bonde played the Cradle first was to play around Spell Pierce, I guess?
That makes sense.
I'm actually going to check if there's a Spell Pierce in Bryant's deck. There's a single copy. So Bonde wisely playing around the one of.
Knowing the list and getting paid off.
Yeah. That is something very unique to these sort of league-ish sort of tournaments. In a Grand Prix, you don't really get the, luxury of doing that.
Yep, unless you're in the top 8.
Oh, yeah. That part's nice.
All right, so we're getting some more Visionary looping shenanigans, but he still has not found any gas.
Nope, he's just going to draw a bunch of cards. But the problem is, I think soon he's going to have to start blocking with his creatures. And that is really not where you want to be as Elves, I think.
No. And he can block. He gets one free block with Wirewood Symbiote.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with the Visionary and then Symbiote returning it.
Exactly, yep. But that's not going to last long. I think I would Brainstorm end a turn here just to get another token. Also, if you happen to hit something like Counterspell off the Brainstorm and not another blue source, that would be nice.
Yep.
Bryant opts to make the more powerful Brainstorm of waiting until his turn, which is traditionally the better play with Brainstorm and might be the better play here for sure.
Second Mentor and a Portent. Huh. So there's a lot of things you could do here. I think the major question is, do you want to keep the Terminus floating, right?
Yes, definitely. The awkward issue is, though, unless he has a Brainstorm, he's not going to be able to instant speed it.
Yeah, so I think what you're seeing Bryant do here also makes sense, which is just continue to try to storm off.
Yep. This is a much riskier line because he could just get hoofed next turn. Yeah. But in the case where he does not get hoofed, this is almost certainly game over next turn.
Yeah. It's very likely that Bryant will find another cantrip in top 3 cards. Or is actually the Portent targeting Bonde? Okay.
Mm-hmm. That would have been a great time for a Portent target you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely worse, though, because, okay, those are some good ones.
Yeah. So as long as he doesn't get hooked this turn, I think the game is probably... Well, it's not entirely locked up, but it's looking very, very good for Bryant. I would say the advantage bar, he's unwrapped the wrapper and is trying to eat it now.
I think if I were him, I would just draw Jace. Yeah, just go Jace next turn, Brainstorm, and then have Force back up is probably going to be game.
Portent is a tough card. Agree with that.
Yep.
I once had to Force of Will a Portent because I kept a Zero-lander on 4 cards as Delver, and it was targeting me, and my top card was the land I needed. I ended up winning this game, which is the crazy part. And my opponent missed a land drop and I wasted them. If he had just Portented himself, I don't think I would have forced it.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, but I literally had to do it. Otherwise, I was just not going to have a land on turn 1, most likely.
You just would not have a land till turn 3, probably.
Yeah, probably. All right. So some angry monks getting into the zone. These monks do approximately n² damage.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response, Jarvis.
I didn't expect you to.
All right, let's see what he ends up keeping. I would guess it's the Force and the Jace and then draw the Snapcaster afterwards, but...
Mishearing Force is not the draw Bonde's looking for.
No, it is not. He does get to Visionary now 3 times.
Yeah. The problem is I think his mana is actually at a premium, right?
It's also really awkward that he doesn't have a 3rd elf in play, which would allow him to... I guess he has the Dryad Arbor, so never mind.
Well...
I was thinking to get value out of the untap ability out of Symbiote, but he has Dryad Arbor to do that with.
If he plays Rock Sage, it's just breaking even on mana, right?
I guess so, but he would lose out on mana if he finds another elf, right?
Yeah.
In the long run.
This is actually really complicated, and you see Bonde tapping and untapping, trying to figure out what to do. I don't think it's really that clear what he's supposed to do. Because there's advantages and disadvantages to playing each of the cards in whatever order.
Yes. There's also advantage to holding a creature back in case you draw a glimpse or something too. So,
yeah. But you do have 2 symbiote activations, right? Well, I guess you'll have 1 after this, right?
yep. So he still has 2 available. He hasn't used any yet.
Right. Right. So this is going to be a huge draw step.
Yeah. So he's looking for the max value of untapping the Heritage Druid.
Oh,
it's the glimpse. That might still be good.
I mean, drawing 2 cards is not irrelevant.
That might still be pretty good. So now he can untap the Reclamation Sage, cast the Glimpse, cast the Visionary. Then he has access to a minimum of 4 mana.
Yeah, this is gonna be wild.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one.
Oh, there's an elf. There's a symbiote.
Oh, it's another symbiote. He's just going off this turn.
We might get to see the full-blown draw most of your deck, which is my favorite part of Elves. You know, just draw your entire deck, put 2 hooks into play, attack for like 9,000 damage.
Yep. This might just be... He might have been able to do it.
Yeah.
There's another Elvish Visionary.
Send Cradle means mana's not going to be a bottleneck, which is pretty nice.
Yep, and also drew another Glimpse, so I think he's doing it. I'm pretty sure his ability to brick here is almost 0.
Yeah, when all of your creatures are divinations, or sorry, thoughtcasts, I guess is actually a better way of putting it.
This one's a Jason's Ingenuity. Yeah, there's a Green Sun Zenith there, so
you can get the 4th symbiote to draw enough cards just in case. Or you could just go get the...
You could just get the hoof with it, I think. He might not have quite enough mana yet.
Yeah, so...
I think he has enough mana at this stage to be able to do it.
Well, I was trying to pick the right card for the right casting costs. Thoughtcast is a 1 mana draw 2.
So, I just want to interrupt this to say that I hope he can cast 5 more spells. If he kills Bryant with a storm count of 20 with Elves... I mean, what kind of value is that? I hope he has like 1 Grape Shot in his deck that he can use Birchlore Rangers to get the mana for.
Advantage bar fully served at Michael Bonde's.
Yeah, he also has a Nettle Sentinel now, so also alongside Heritage Druid, that's going to be too much to overcome.
You know this is going well for him when we can't even see the entire hand.
Yep.
Bonde.
You can only see the same 7 cards.
I don't know what's all the way over there. It's unseeable. I mean, we don't really have to see.
I need to know. Oh, come on! Don't stop at get that storm count above 20.
Yeah.
That is what is important here.
That is what is important. Oh, nice. We can just see a resized handbar now.
Nice.
That's a lot of cards. Yeah, we could very easily draw in our entire deck. And if we actually needed to, we could just start looping creatures into Green Sun Zeniths to use Green Sun Zeniths to untap 3 creatures to get enough mana to cast 2 hoofs.
Is he just going for the maximum here? Is he just going for how much damage can I possibly deal this turn?
Well, the answer is a lot, because you could start using Quirion Rangers to untap. Oh no, only the 3 leftmost creatures can attack anyways.
Yep. There's only theoretically 5 creatures that can attack this turn. I guess I would imagine it's getting as many creatures into play without decking yourself, and then going from there.
Yeah, you could just start shuffling the Zeniths back in, though. Oh. Well, storm count was 21.
Did it.
Locked.
He defeated Bryant Cook's Miracles with a Storm strategy.
Yeah, Elves used to play Grape Shot in, remember when Luis won the Pro Tour?
That was the Cloudstone Curio version, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I just had Weird Harvest.
Okay.
But let's look at sideboards. So, really, really powerful card from Bonde side, Choke.
Yep.
This card is a nightmare.
Yeah, look at how many basic islands there are on that other side of that board. Not to mention all the non-basics as well.
So I'll just say there's 5 plus 3 more non-basic islands.
However, if you'll see that Bryant is also bringing in Disenchant for Choke. So this is a scenario where knowing the lists matters. I'm not sure that I would... Well, maybe now that Choke is a really commonly played card, it's worth it. But in the past where Choke wasn't quite as commonly played, I don't think I would bring in Disenchant in the dark against Elves.
And also interestingly, you see Bryant go for his second copy Back to Basics versus Bonde. How do you feel about that?
I don't hate it, actually, because locking down Cradles, Dried Arbors, assuming that there's no like Quirion Ranger shenanigans or Wirewood shenanigans, and even like locking down Bayous and stuff, I think can be worth it. Like, it's not going to win you the game, but I think it can buy you some time.
Yep, and also if you looked pretty closely, Bonde sided in Thoughtseize to try to clear the way for the chokes, I think, as well.
Yep. And right now he's got Thoughtseize to clear the way for an Elvish Visionary.
Yeah, that's some classic magics right there.
Yep.
Thoughtseize and the Visionary. Love it.
I wonder if he Thoughtseizes or Nettles here. I would guess Nettle, but now he's opting to seize some thoughts.
And yeah, if I'm Bryant, I would also play the Brainstorm response, I think.
Yep.
I think Brainstorm's the best card in our hand. And our hand kind of needs a third land.
I agree completely. I would definitely Brainstorm there. You want to find another land. You want to maybe hide a card. It's definitely worth it.
So pretty complicated. Not the optimal Brainstorm for Bryant, but, you know, we'll get to shuffle one of the cards away.
Yep. I was also thinking of leading on Nettle Sentinel because I don't really like casting a Thoughtseize into my opponent's Brainstorm, but the thing about Miracles is that it's pretty unlikely he'll be tapping out anytime soon, so that interaction is probably going to happen one way or another.
Agreed. And yeah, if you look at Bryant's hand, it was basically two pair, and a snap. So we just took the snap because the snap's also the best card in that hand, I think.
I think so too. It'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming Brian's probably going to shuffle his other Snapcaster away, but I probably would have leaned towards shuffling the Back to Basics away and keeping the Snapcaster.
Yeah, it's close.
It is, especially with two non-basics in play now. The Back to Basics is looking way more appealing.
Yeah. So the reason he fetched an island was if he drew another fetch, slamming the Back to Basics there would be almost like backbreaking, debilitating for Bonde.
It would be back to breaking.
Back to breaking, yeah. But the downside was he wasn't able to fetch Tundra, which I think is going to be sort of a downside.
That's the classic Miracles problem of drawing a Scalding Tarn when all you ever want to see is Flooded Strand.
Yeah, the problem is they only let you play with 4 Flooded Strands.
I know, it is an enormous drawback. Oh, yeah. Getting in for 2 with the old Pendelhaven.
I don't even guess. Ooh, a Ponder. Well, we can start looking for some more lands.
I believe this is shuffle anything that's not able to find a basic plains.
Well, That's actually tricky, right?
That is tricky. I would consider keeping that.
So you can predict away a bad card next upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
and try to dig for land that way if you somehow miss. If you hit here, you're actually in reasonable shape.
Yeah, I would consider keeping that. Brainstorming. Looks like he opted to shuffle, though.
Yeah, I think shuffling is also reasonable.
Yeah, I think both are very defensible for sure.
Yeah. The question is, what do you actually want to do? And I think both lines have their merits. Ooh, that is an Invocation Choke from Amoncat. Boy, did you not want to open those in Booster Draft.
You never choked somebody in Limited, Jarvis?
I actually have, but it was core set.
Nice.
I do remember, I think it was in a Seif opened a Invocation Maelstrom Pulse and passed it at one of the Pro Tours. It was so confusing because that's like one of the better cards to open.
That is pretty good. Yeah, that is. I'm not sure about that. I think my favorite story regarding one of those cards was I drafted a deck that was like probably the best deck I've ever drafted in a Pro Tour, and it's another choke.
Another choke.
At Back to Basics is getting pitched in a heartbeat. But I'm 1-0 and I get in round 2. I have like this great hand, but it's a 2-lander, and my opponent just snaps the strip mine off on me.
What?
Just never draw. I just never drew another land and died.
So it must have been
that is rough. Beats.
Must have been Oath. This happened to you?
What's that?
Pro Tour Oath.
Yeah. Yes, it was. I believe. Yeah. All right, that Brainstorm was a phenomenal draw.
Yes. And we also brainstormed into a Flooded Strand, which we desperately needed.
We brainstormed into the perfects because it's a Flooded Strand, and we can put the Terminus back and Portent into it.
Yeah.
And miracle it on our opponent's upkeep.
Yeah, that is the true power of Portent.
Honestly, I think it's the true power of Brainstorm, but...
Oh, yeah, true. But they tag teamed here, right?
Yes.
So do you actually portent your opponent? Because you're going to have to shuffle anyways?
Yeah, that's probably actually correct. You're right.
Oh, you see second Terminus.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah. Chat does point out that Bryant has drawn pretty bad until that Brainstorm. And I would tend to agree.
Yep, I would agree with that too. I think that Miracles is actually just the deck that abuses Brainstorm the most because sometimes it's like really bad if you don't draw a Brainstorm.
Great.
But if you get to set things up with Brainstorms, it just feels like...
You're playing a different deck.
Yeah.
That Miracles would probably play like 10 Brainstorms if it could. Yes,
they probably would.
Actually, I guess a lot of decks would play a lot of Brainstorms. That's not a good metric.
It's like, how many Brainstorms would you play if you could play as many as you wanted?
Answer is a lot.
My answer is 3.
What?
3 Brainstorms.
All right, so Choke is going to get forced here, and Bryant's going to get to untap and probably play Back to Basics. That's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, this game swung by a huge amount.
Yeah. The advantage bar was, sort of dancing around. It was kind of on Bonde's side for quite a bit. But now I think we're going to see some fireworks from Bryant.
Yep.
Maybe some Monastery Mentors in a bit.
I like the proactive Pithing Needle. It's very, very high chance that Bryant just goes land Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, considering he's been stuck on 3 forever.
Yep.
But instead, we're going to send Bonde back to the Stone Age.
Yep.
Got to rediscover how to make mana. Yep. That was a triple Stone Rain for those of you who like card advantage.
That's not me.
What are you talking about? You love card advantage.
How about that?
We literally just saw you pummel your opponent with nothing but 2-for-1s.
That doesn't ring a bell.
It doesn't ring a bell.
All right, so I think this is an interesting choice here of whether to cast Ponder and Predict or just play the second Mentor out.
Yeah, interesting. And now that you see those three, what do you do?
I would draw Scalding Tarn, back to basics on top of my deck, predict it away.
Okay. There's also merit to playing the second Mentor, I think, as well, but it sort of resets your predict to do that.
Yeah, I think at this stage of the game, making the token is and getting a like perfect predict is better than the alternative.
Yeah, I guess one Mentor is probably going to kill almost as quickly as two, really. So this does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, having a double Mentor is pretty nice when you have like creatures on the other side of the battlefield and more than one mana in play, but yeah.
Bonde packs it in. So we're getting a game 3.
And that was a pretty impressive showing for back to basics.
Yeah.
So I was definitely skeptical of the card, but it definitely was quite good there.
Bonde apparently had 2 more thoughts in his sideboard. I just couldn't even recognize them because one of them was the Invocation one.
He's doing his best to play a mixture of as much art as he can.
That's true. Looks like Bryant is standing pat, which makes sense to me. Oh,
yep.
One interesting thing that might seem confusing is that Bryant cited out his counterbalances.
I think that's a nod to the abrupt decays that Bonde will have, and also, but yeah, I mean, I guess they do seem good in this matchup, but they're a little bit slow, I guess.
And also, they require a lot of work to keep setting them up, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that's a reasonable decision. So, both players are happy with how they sideboarded now. All right, let's see some fireworks.
One thing that I don't like about Elves having to board in a lot of interaction is that it makes some of your best cards worse.
Yeah, it makes Glimpses a lot worse.
Yeah, Glimpse is one card that it definitely makes worse, but there's also others like Wirewood Symbiote, Gaia's Cradle. Cards like that all really care about the number of creatures and the quality of creatures. So,
funny you mentioned that. If you looked really closely, Bonde cited out 2 Cradles.
I did see that, yeah. I thought that was really interesting. I didn't mention it, but yeah, I thought that was interesting and probably a really smart move.
I think the reason to do that is if you expect your opponent to have a lot of sweepers, Cradle is worse.
Oh, is he just going to Stone Cold him right here?
Are we naming Punishman for the blind get him? That would be insane.
Oh, he did it!
What?
Wow. Oh, and he drew the Scalding Tarn. Oh, man.
So the game doesn't end right on the spot, but that was absurd.
That was absurd for sure.
Disaster, crisis averted for Bryant, though.
Yeah, not only did he draw the land, he also has the engine explosives, and it also just really good against Bonde's hand with 3 1-drops in play in his hand. I mean,
I'm not sure if that was the right play, but it certainly made that draw step really exciting.
It did, yeah.
But I'm just like, what the heck? All right, so I think we probably need to brainstorm here, if I had to guess.
Yep, I would recommend trying to find additional lands.
Oh, there's the Tundra already, though.
I think he drew that off the brainstorm. Or am I wrong?
Hard to tell. I think no, he did draw that off the brainstorm. Right. So Terminus probably goes on top, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
This is going to work out very well for Bryant, actually.
Do you think Bonde just jams the Packmaster? Looks like not.
I guess he's choosing not to. That's really unsafe because also if your Nelson just gets plowed, the Packmaster dies.
Yep.
Good old Lorwyn Limited All-Star Ren's run Packmaster.
Yeah. I would have considered jamming it in his spot because it feels like he's pretty far behind. But and that might have been a way to catch up. But it is true that if Bryant has Swords of Plowshares there, the game just ends.
Yeah, so I understand why you didn't. I think, again, there are upsides to both. If you really think you need to take a lot of risks, you can make that play. But from Bonde not doing that, I think he thinks he can still sort of win this game by fair means.
Yep, that was a great start, drawing Greens and Zenith.
Yep, get the best card drawer in Legacy. Elvish Vision.
3 mana for a 1/1 for a 1/1. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Merchant of Secrets is OP.
So now if Bryant doesn't crack explosives and spend his mana elsewhere, that Decay can take out the EE and then also unlock Symbiote for Visionary.
Chad actually makes a good point. Was it better? Oh no, he couldn't. Well, last turn he could have cracked the explosives instead of Terminusing, right?
Yes, he could have.
And that is maybe slightly better because it unlocks your Footage Trend for that turn as well, right?
Yes. I think I would have probably, because he had double Terminus on top.
Yeah.
So I think I would have just not Miracled the first one, freed up my Flooded Strand, and then Miracle the second one.
Yeah. But again, it's still sort of a judgment call because by leaving the explosives in play, it sort of forces Bonde not to commit too many 1-drops to the board.
Although if you blow the explosives up and then he commits a bunch and then you Miracle second Terminus, that's also pretty big.
That's true.
I do think it's close either way, though.
All right, so Bonde really wanted a Visionary there instead of Rexage. And now I think if I had an advantage bar, it would be inside the in and out.
Me too. I wouldn't say inside the in and out, but
nice. On top of the in and out?
Around the in and out.
Around the in and out?
In and out of the in and out.
In and out of the in and out. All right, so this is nearly perfect because all you want are cantrips for the next turn to set up your Storm deck.
Yep. I would keep those, draw the land, play the Mentor, and then go bananas next turn.
You mean Storm off?
Yep. I think my following turn would be something like Brainstorm, Predict a Way Back to Basics, Ponder, who knows what else.
It really is in Bryant's Brian's in the driver's seat now.
For sure. Although this Decay will take care of this Mentor. The second one might be bad news, but
yep. Ooh, reconsidering. He's going to try to get a nettle trade. What? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good play.
Attack first, then untap your Nettle Sentinel. That makes sense.
That is a really good play. I did not see that.
I didn't see it either. We goofs.
That's why I stick to just killing all my opponent's creatures. It's much easier.
And giving your 2-for-1s that you claim that you don't like.
Yeah. I don't like them, Jarvis. I just abuse them.
I actually could see that. Nah, I didn't think you like your 2-for-1s.
I do like them. Yeah, you're right.
I was rethinking this whole conversation we were having. So second force makes the game really, really safe.
Yep. Especially with more blue cantrips on top, he can pitch back to basics to the first one, and then we'll always have something to pitch to the other one.
So yeah, I think Bonde really needed to draw a visionary there to try to get things going. Didn't happen, unfortunately, for him.
I like the attack with Nettle Sentinel first. If he casts a spell like Thoughtseize, there's a chance it gets Force of Willed, and then you can't attack at all.
Great attack. Fortunately, I don't think you'll alter the outcome of the game.
I don't either. I don't think chipping in for 2 to 3 points of damage is going to do much against Monastery Mentor's horde of creatures.
You know something about mentoring.
I am familiar with the process.
Yeah, that card is restricted in Vintage for a reason. It is bananas.
It's also not legal in Standard for a reason.
Yeah, that's because it rotated from Standard.
Exactly.
All right, Storm 1.
All right, so he'll draw 2 cards off of this. Get rid of the Portent, I believe, that's on top of his deck.
Yep. Drawing cards is so nice with Predict.
So now, what's the play here? Is it Snapcaster? No. I was thinking it might be Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I think this is fine, though. Because if you draw 2 1-mana spells off of this, it's a little bit better to do this.
There's a lot of gas on top of the deck.
Yeah, Disenchant's the only bad card, to be honest.
Yep.
So you'll probably see that buried.
I would actually maybe keep the Disenchant.
Yeah. Hold on. That is actually a good point, because if your opponent just plays Choke, you can EOT Disenchant with your current setup. And you're not going to want to play both Council's Judgment and Jace next turn, right?
Yeah, I think I would have kept the Disenchant in hand and hid like the Jace and the Judgment or something, and then that way the best case scenario is that Bonde uses his turn to cast Choke and you just get to Disenchant and get all the triggers.
Yep. That would be pretty nice.
And without a fetch land anyway, it's not really like you need, you're not going to be fetching it away or anything.
Right. All right, so we see a not jump block. Basically, we're fogging the Mentor because of Symbiote.
Yep.
All right.
But it's still a lot of damage.
Yeah. I think that needed to be a good card.
I agree with that. I believe we're going to see Renthron Packmaster entering the fray.
Yep. Do you force it?
I'd probably just Snapcaster. I guess it can get picked up with Symbiote again, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would consider forcing it. I'm not sure.
So.
I actually would probably just Jace bounce it. But.
Yeah, I was thinking if you just let it resolve and you just bounce it, it's kind of the same because they've spent their entire turn to play a 4-drop, and you spent your entire turn to get a prowess trigger and play a 4-drop.
Actually, I've changed my mind. I would force it, pitching Snapcaster Mage, getting a token. Then I would play Jace the Mind Sculptor, bounce a creature, and attack for lethal. Oh, no, it's short of lethal. Never mind.
All right. If it's not lethal, I don't like it.
Yep, it's not lethal. I take it all back.
Hashtag chat lethal indeed.
Commentator lethal, is that a thing?
Yeah, probably.
Probably is.
That's a lot of triggers.
So Ren's Run Packmaster lets you spend 3 mana to make a creature. Yep. Monastery Mentor lets you spend 4 mana to make a creature and a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Interesting note, Packmaster gives the Wolves Death Touch, but the Packmaster needs to be in play for that ability to apply. It's a really weird card.
It is. It's not exactly how they would probably word it today, but
I think the tokens nowadays would just have Death Touch built in, right?
Yeah, I think, like, when they used to print cards back then, a lot of them, like, if things got bounced in combat or whatever, it just really changed the dynamics of stuff. And now I think they tend to just make it so you don't have to deal with that as much anymore.
Yeah.
There's less trickery and weird, like, missing onboard things.
A glimpse would be good if not for the Force of Will.
I agree.
This will be snapped off so fast.
The question, though, here is that, like, a natural order would just be game in that case, but...
deck lists are known. There are no natural orders.
Oh, there aren't. Never mind. Okay.
So, that, again, knowing the deck list here is enormous because he didn't even have to consider that as a possibility, right?
Yep. Like, in a tournament, I would probably still force the Glimpse there.
Yeah.
But I would certainly consider allowing it to resolve and just countering an important creature and hoping that, nothing happened. But
so I would like to note that this drops Bonde to the losers bracket.
It does.
Bryant has played against Elves twice as Jeskai Miracles.
Yeah, it's really impressive. He switched his deck around from the Epic Storm to Miracles and then got paired against Elves twice, which is very, very fortuitous pairings. But also just good metagaming, too, because you know who you're going to play against at least one round, and maybe you can kind of guess for some of the other ones, too.
Yeah, although I wonder if he had known this was going to happen, would he just stick with the Epic Storm? Because I would presume that has a good Elves matchup.
I would think so, too, but with all the hand disruption, it might actually not be that insane. I would imagine it's still good, but maybe Empty the Warrens doesn't seem as great as normally is. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great match to watch. There was a lot of storming on both sides.
There was, but both sides stormed hard. I think play of the game goes to the turn 1 Pithing Needle. It didn't pan out, but it was a bold move.
Oh yeah, that could have just been lights out, but Scalding Tarn off the top made it into a real game.
Yep, for sure.
Bold maneuver from Michael Bonde. But I think that's going to be it for me tonight. I have to play a match. A Grixis Delvermere is coming up for y'all. Me versus Bob Hong.
Some of the most exciting Magic is yet to be played. I love Grixis, so I'm excited to see this Grixis mirror. Hopefully it's a good match. Yep.
Anyways, I'm going to take off now. I would like to thank our sponsors real quick. Cardboard Live, MTG The Epic Storm, MTG First, and Card Supporter. Without all of these supporters, we can't do what we do every week. Anyways, peace, y'all.
Later.